Today, let me show you some of the brilliant castle-themed MOCs that were on display at Brickfair, Virginia 2022. Now, I apologize if I'm not able to credit every builder in this video. I'll try my best, but it is really tough to keep track of names when there's just so many builders at a convention of this size. I'll have 7 other additional videos covering the other MOCs on display at the convention too, so stay tuned for those videos coming out soon. But for now, let's dive into some of these castle MOCs. Starting off on the Empire lug table here, we can see this gorgeous castle MOC. I love the fact that they've used some dark tan and some of these nougat colored pieces as well, especially the use of some of these 3x3 rounded tiles that you can kind of just see there in the corner. I don't know, just nice little mounds of dirt and just really striking colors you don't see in larger quantities like this. I love too that there's a sort of construction site here, not really common for a medieval scene, but works really well. This Barrow-d'Ur tower here from Lord of the Rings is gorgeous as well. The Eye of Sauron at the top there looks awesome, but I think some of my favorite details here are all of the minifigures, this just huge army down below. It's rare to see such a large army, because obviously that costs a lot. We can see a few custom minifigures there though, which is certainly a smart idea to be able to have such a big army for maybe a little bit cheaper than using official Lord of the Rings minifigures, which can be very expensive. I believe this is an Underworld MOC here. It's really cool to see castle stuff that isn't grey, just because almost every castle MOC is grey, so very refreshing to see some brighter colours. Love this pirate ship here using some non-official sail pieces, just because, well, I don't think LEGO makes sails that are big enough to accommodate the scale of this ship. We can see these cannons using some grey barrel pieces, which is a clever part used there to build a sort of upscaled cannon in that regard. Lovely brick bending here on this Lord of the Rings wall here, and a gorgeous sort of very fantasy-esque MOC here. We can see some beautiful stained glass windows and these sort of gold detailings here, which really kind of bring this into that fantasy vibe. It's gorgeous. Lovely looking bookshelf here in this MOC, and one of my favorites in this video, a revamp of an old Knights Kingdom set, which I had this one as a kid and I loved playing with it, so it's beautiful to see a sort of modern interpretation of it. And I think that's such a cool idea for building any kind of MOC, is revamping an old set you liked and building it with very kind of modern techniques. It's just a fun challenge and beautiful to see it done here on this MOC. Love this dark green roof design up here, looks phenomenal. And this beautiful little vignette here with more beautiful stained glass and these gorgeous cheese slope mosaics on the bottom there, amazing. I always love little tiny vignettes like this that are just so packed full of detail. There's just something really nice about that. Moving over to a MOC that uses some beautiful teal and using anti-studs for the roof there in dark blue, very, very nice. We've got a MOC by my friend Patrick, who's built a sort of crustacean with a crab rock castle on its back there for its shell. And then a really, really impressive castle MOC here, which is just so massive. This kind of really reminds me of a lot of kind of like concept art or really beautiful like high fantasy drawings that you can see online that have nothing to do with LEGO but just look very visually pleasing, and I'm sure that was possibly some inspiration for this MOC here. These very sort of thin but tall bridges look beautiful. These lava pits, a beautiful little Smaug, little dragon horde underneath the mountain, and those lava pits being made, we're just sort of scattering those trans bricks there. Looks gorgeous. A yellow castle like the OG castle, but inspired a little bit more by Nexo Knights. Some beautiful little houses and a lovely little castle here with some nice little windows on it. Looks amazing. Let's move over now to one of the larger castle displays at the convention. This huge castle here. You can kind of see if you look closely just sort of how all the different sections would kind of divide up, and I'm sure that's for transportation there, because that's certainly something that's very important for these sorts of conventions, because it's nice to build big stuff, but it can be difficult to transport it. So something to pay attention to, and nice to see so many different modules for this thing here. A floating castle here. From some of these angles you can see how it isn't necessarily supported except for those actual chains there, which is sort of a trend with different MOCs, but it's really cool to see it in person, and very nice to see it on such a large scale here too. Well, large compared to some of the others. An awesome sort of more Bionicle focused spider here, which looks awesome. And a D&D MOC using one of the Gargantos Doctor Strange sets there and kind of reformatting it a little bit to look like a beholder. Another MOC I adored here, this awesome little tree stump here, some beautiful snot techniques to get that tree shape using some Technic brown pieces for the different branches there. Looks awesome. I love too this gorgeous little MOC back here with some of these curved slopes in white to get that cloud effect. And this beautiful dynamic action with this MOC here. The sort of rough waves are perfectly executed with the color choices there. And then a cute little micro-scale castle too. Moving over now, we can see an interior section of this building, and then here's the actual base for it. You can see the roof over there too. Really clever idea to display the MOC like that so you can actually see the insides. Three very nice little tiny vignettes here. I love this little wizard and this strange cube and the beautiful bamboo on that middle one there. Gorgeous vignettes, love them. Onto the next mock now. It's a very impressive one here. What I love about this is, well, first off, this beautiful exterior here with all this beautiful landscape. Love seeing these 1x2x5 trans light blue pieces there so you can actually kind of see into the water. Beautiful cobblestone path. But when we get to the actual sort of castle itself, I think that's where it really shines. There's sort of beautiful layers to this. Not only does the castle itself look nice, but when we sort of take a peek behind the walls here, we can see a more sort of busy market street and things like that. But wait, that's not it. When we go behind the castle once again, there's even more amazing interior details here. So I love just how jam-packed this thing was with details pretty much everywhere. It was really nice to see. And what's also really cool is that it's lit in some way. You know, sometimes building stuff like this where it's a little more enclosed, it can become a little bit too dark and you can't really see anything. So lovely to see it very well lit so you can very clearly see everything. A lot of attention to detail put into this, which I can really appreciate, and love that chandelier too. On to the next mod now. It's nice to see an actual kind of battle. We've seen a lot of peaceful castle mocks, so good to see some war happening. This was just next to it, so I'll include this as well. Some really awesome life-size Lego stuff here. So that radio there, the guy was sort of showing it to me. I was able to pick it up by the antenna there, and it supported all of its own weight. So really solid structure behind that. Really impressive to see, that's for sure. A castle here that's jam-packed with details like a kraken and ships and all sorts of cool stuff. But I think my favorite detail here are these two beautiful statues here. I think statues can always be a little bit difficult to replicate in Lego there, so it's really impressive to see such impressive ones here. Lovely work. Another castle here which has some awesome sort of curved walls to it and that beautiful kind of black conical roof as well. Very cool. And I adore these two little vignettes here, specifically this tan one with this gorgeous brickwork here. The final mark in our little castle tour is this gorgeous sort of rock pillar with this castle on top. It was sort of roped off on its own and not on a table, I guess, so that's even so that the little kids can see it and it's not too high on a table, which is smart. But the ingot brickwork and the curvature on this castle here is magnificent. And even some of the little light bricks as well really give this a beautiful sort of atmosphere and mood, it was just really nice to take in. Some of my favorite details I think include just the sheer kind of rock face of this sort of pillar here. I found myself when building rock work it can be very difficult to get a very sort of large vertical surface like this, and you know, at least to get it to look this good as well. So really impressive to see. And I adore this water, the dark blue with the little hints of trans clear. Again, a nice mood to it, very sort of brooding and sinister. It's very nice. So a gorgeous castle mock, a lovely one to finish off this castle tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of these different castle mocks at Brickfair, Virginia 2022, and stay tuned for some of the other coverage of the convention on this channel as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.